Hello, hello, hello. Wayne Builds Worlds here. Welcome back to our Civilization VII Roman campaign. In the last episode, we set up the campaign, prepared to begin building Rome. Today, we're finally stepping out and starting to do just that, learning the foundations of Civilization VII as we go. We'll be taking a close look at the new systems. We'll be looking at currencies. We'll be looking at settlement limits and leader attributes. We'll be going to exploration, city growth, technologies, and civics while we make our first real strategic decisions for Rome. This series is going to be going at a slower, more thoughtful pace as we play through it, focused on learning the game and building a long-term empire from the ground up. So let us begin our first turns as Rome.
Okay, here we are in Civ 7. We have our mini map, we have our main map, which you'll see is broken out into hexes. Up here in the upper right, we have the various different types of currency. We have gold. This is used to buy things. This is science. This is to advance the science tree. This is culture, which advances the culture tree. There are a lot of trees in this world. They love their trees in Civ 7. Happiness. Happiness is used to, you accumulate happiness, and after a certain point you can have a celebration, which is something that will give you some kind of bonus for so many turns, and also unlock the ability to have more policies enabled at a time. So that's a really good thing to have happiness. And then we have our influence, which is used to spend on various things involving different interactions with different civs and with different city-states and things like that. And you'll notice something here, that we have a civilization settlement limit. A settlement, again, is a city and a town. Like, either one of those is a settlement. So at the start of the game, you can only have 3 of them. And if you go over 3 of them, you get -5 happiness per turn in every settlement, to a maximum of -35. This is one of the changes that's coming. They're removing that maximum. What a lot of people are doing is focusing heavily on happiness, so that they have at least plus 35 happiness in every settlement, so then you have an unlimited settlement limit. They're getting rid of that, so it's just going to get worse and worse. So this is forcing you kind of to make good use of the settlements that you have, and don't just endlessly sprawl out. It's good and bad. There are a lot of ways to increase your settlement limit. You'll see that over time that we're going to be able to build more and more, and it kind of helps us pace. One thing that I've kind of noticed is that it's very important to be as close to the top of your settlement limit as you possibly can. So if we can have 3, we want to stick around 3. We're on turn 1, 4000 BC. We've got Ben Franklin here with our stats. So let's take a look at Ben Franklin real quick. This is going to give us the information on our leader, the information on our civilization, and we can also take a look at different actions we have against things, our government, our unique abilities. But what we really want to look at here is our attributes, because if you remember, I selected one of those mementos that's going to give us a scientific point. So you see here, we have 1 here, 0 in all of them. Even more trees. Lots of trees in this game. So we have 1 point, and that's going to allow us to have +1 science per age on our palace in every city hall. So I've used that point to now buy this. And then if I get another science point, I can pick this one or this one. And we work our way down through the tree as we unlock these things. So by having that memento, we get this extra science bonus. It says +0 right now because we don't actually have our city built. So there isn't a palace or city hall. That will change very quickly here. Okay, so now that we're in the game, we'll see our starting spot, and we have our founder. A founder is a settler, just the first one that you get. I don't know why they didn't just call it settler. All the other ones are called settlers, but this is going to give you your first city. As we look around here, we've got a river. We've got some grasslands. We've got some trees up here. You'll also notice these here. Right, so this is crabs. This is a bonus resource that's going to give us +1 food on warehouse buildings. That may not make a lot of sense now, but it will make sense shortly. Up here we have cotton, which is another bonus resource. We have another cotton here, and we have iron here, which is an empire resource. It's going to give us +1 combat for infantry units to a max of 6. That is really good. We're going to want to take that at some point. Our cities can go 3 squares out, 3 hexes out. So we're going to be able to get that if we settle here. So we're going to do that. We're going to settle right here. So we'll click on our founder. Let's get rid of you. And we'll just click on this building here, which will create the city. So we have our city, right? And now we're actually getting production towards things. We have +5 gold per turn. We have +11 science per turn, +11 culture per turn, +5 happiness, +10 influence. And you see we have our 1 of 3 done. Now that we have our city, we're allowed to make things in our cities. It's another currency that's not up here. It's called production. It's these little hammers, and that's going to allow us to build buildings, create units, work on projects, and build wonders. Now, at the start of the game, I really recommend building at least 2 scouts. You don't have a military unit yet, but, you know, the scouts are going to be more important at the start, at the very beginning. This may depend on the difficulty that you're playing, but in general, you kind of want to go scouts over warriors. Now, if you look at this city right here, you'll notice there's 1 circle that's filled, 1 circle that's not. So in our starting city hex, we have our palace in our first slot, and that's ageless, which means it's going to be there forever. And then we have room to put 1 more building in this hex. That's not going to be too important now because we don't have the choice of a building. So let's pick our scout. And in 1 turn, because it requires 1 production, and we're getting 5 production per turn, so in 1 turn, we're going to be able to build the scout. So let's do next turn. And we have our scout. This little symbol here means scout. And they are used for exploring around. They do not attack. That is a change between previous Civ games as well. In previous Civ games, your scouts were very weak, but they could attack other scouts. They could attack other military units. These guys don't. You can send them to automatically explore around. I typically, at the beginning of the game, like to manually control them, and then at a certain point I say, okay, just do your thing. They have a couple special abilities here. So if we click Lookout, that is going to keep them where they are, but as long as they stay in that spot, they're going to be able to see 1 space farther than they normally can. What search does is it increases it for 1 space as well, but they can see discoveries twice as far. Discoveries are what we typically called goody huts. they're going to be really, really helpful at the beginning of the game, which is why you want to go heavy on scouts at the beginning. Try to get as many of these discoveries as possible. A couple of the other important kind of things you can do here is an alert. Alert, basically you put the unit to sleep. They're not going to take turns. They're just going to sit there until you click on them and give them an action. But they will wake up if an enemy goes near, as opposed to the sleep one, which means they just stay asleep no matter what. So what we're going to do at the very beginning, we're going to click search. And that's going to broaden out our view a little bit. But it's also maybe going to expose a discovery or two. Okay, so we have one here, we have one here, we have one here, and one here. We got 4 of them at the beginning. That is great. So we're going to want to go and grab those as quickly as possible. But that was our turn. That took up that scout's turn. So now we can choose technology. So this 11 per turn science is going to go towards unlocking new technology. So before we take a look at these specifically, let's take a look at this tree. So this agriculture one, this is one that we were working on. We didn't realize we were working on it. They didn't show us. But when we finished it, it gave us the choice to pick a new one now. So now, if you remember in the city, we could only pick a scout or a warrior, I think. This now allows us to build a granary, a fishing quay, and this last one is +1 food on farms. So that's every farm we build is now going to get an extra food. So we've got the choice of doing sailing, pottery, animal husbandry, and as you see, these branch out. Some of them have 2 levels where you can get multiple rewards for. And you'll also notice at the end of the tech tree, it stops at mathematics and ironworking. It doesn't go beyond that. Previous Civ games, you'd go all the way into future, into the future with robotics and space flight and all kinds of stuff there. This one here, in each age, you're restricted to only doing the tech from that age. You can't get into the exploration tech while in antiquity, and everyone is going to move up together into the next one. So let's take a look at our options here. We have pottery. That's going to give us a brickyard, which is going to give us +1 production to clay pits, mines, and quarries, +1 food on plantations, and +1 production to clay pits. We have animal husbandry, which is going to give us +1 production on cams and woodcutters. It's going to unlock the slinger, which is a ranged military unit. I typically like having ranged units in my cities to defend my cities. And then you also kind of want some of those in with your army as well to be able to attack. This is also giving +1 production on camps and woodcutters, and also +1 food on pastures. Now remember also as well that we have some starting bonuses because of Ben Franklin, that we're going to get extra science on production buildings that are in cities. So we're seeing here that this is a production building, and this is a production building, the saw pit and the brickyard. So those might be things that we want to build. And then down, our 4th option is sailing. This is going to give us production for the harbor on fishing boats. We're going to unlock a boat. We're going to get +1 food on fishing boats, and it's going to allow land units to go into coast terrain. Coast terrain is down here, that as you look down here, that we have some sort of water. Maybe it's a lake, maybe it's the ocean. The first tile next to land is typically that coast. So that's where we would put our fishing boats. Also our rivers. If you notice, these ones are smaller and shallower. These ones are wider and deeper. This is navigable rivers. This we put fishing boats on these, but we can't on these. So that's where the fishing stuff will come into play, into these spots here and into the ocean tiles or the lake tiles. Now, in here, we were saying that we could have bonuses to clay pits, mines, quarries, camps, or woodcutters. Woodcutters are obviously going to be in this forest, but this is a starting city. I typically don't do a lot of the natural stuff in my starting city. I'm kind of want to go towards this mine, which is going to say maybe this brickyard might be helpful at the beginning, but I think we'll go with animal husbandry because this is going to unlock that slinger. I think we're going to want that. We also built our first scout, so we have another one. Now, on your very first turn, it only costs 1 production to get one of the units. They do that to kind of help you at the very beginning, but these are typically 30 now, so we're going to need 30 to build the second scout, so that's going to take us 6 turns. So we'll do that. That was reminding us of another type of currency that's in the game. Not only do you have production, but you also have food, and your food is going to fill up. As you produce food, we have 10 of 29 there, you see. As we get 29, we're going to increase the population of our city. We've done that last turn, so we have 1 urban population. That means our starting hex right here is our urban one that they're talking about, and we have 1 rural population, which you kind of look here. Okay, we don't have 1, but that's because they're telling us to place it down now. So in previous games, your city grew through culture. In Civ 7, that is not true. It grows through increasing your population. Each one of your population in general is going to take up a hex. So if we look here, we can build some farms, we can build a woodcutter here, we can build another farm, or we could build some fishing boats. And each one of these is going to do something different. This is going to give us 1 food. These are going to give us 2 food, 1 happiness, 1 food, 1 production, 1 happiness, and these 2 are food, coin, and 1 happiness. I think I'm going to pick this one down here, this fishing boat. It's going to do a couple things. It's going to give us the food, the coin, and the happiness, so these are going to increase by doing this. It's also going to get us closer to this iron down here, which we want to make our military units stronger. So we're going to pick this, and you'll notice that we now have fishing boats here. So this is our rural hex. So this city is now here and here. So if you remember in previous Civ games, a lot of times the starting square or hex was the only spot the city would be in. In Civ 6, they added the ability to have districts, which you'd have, like, let's say science here, and all your science buildings would go here. Well, in this game, it's different, where your city's actually going to be building out. So let's do this. Where do we want to go here? We've got a couple of things here, so let's go here. Let's tell them to walk over here and explore this one. Do next turn. Everything increases. Next turn. And we've made it here to this discovery. Now, goody huts in the past would give you a random bonus, but in Civ 7, goody huts, or discoveries as they're now called, are going to give you a choice. So they have a little bit of text around them, and then you get to pick how you respond, and based off of how you respond, you'll get different bonuses. So hunters have set up camp in a quiet forest. They complain of their neighbors who encroach on their lands and call the wildlife. Still, they are happy to trade what they have. So if we want to trade, we'll get 20 food. So if we look over here, we're at 16 of 29. So that would be a big deal. That would push us up to 3. It would give us another hex. We'd also get 10 production. So this here, we'd get 10. This isn't per turn. These things aren't per turn. They're one time 20, one time plus 10 to roam. Or we could get 45 to our influence one time by negotiating with their neighbors to give more peace in this area. I think I'm going to pick this. And as you see, we're generating. Let's see here. We're generating 6 food per turn and 5 production per turn at this point. And this is going to give us 20 and 10. So this is a lot, and this is why these discoveries are so important at the beginning. You definitely want to get your scouts early, get them out, and get them exploring. So we have that. We're now 3. We're almost done with our second scout. We get to build more. We have this, so if we build this mine here, we're now expanding out this way. We are 1 more tile away from being able to build this mine and increase the strength of our infantry units, which will be very helpful in the future as we encounter people that we need to go into combat with. Let's go to our next turn. We'll go up here because I think this is the closest one, so let's just try to...
The tourist should get another lens. See straight inside. Wouldn't see Big Rock then. He would see that Kunia, living right inside there as from the beginning.
Okay, so it looks like we found a natural wonder. The natural wonder is right here. If we build a city next to this or a town, and we put a rural spot on this wonder, we can get +2 culture on desert squares that are in here. So we have some desert here, so we probably want to build up here or something and get this. So that could be helpful. Let's next turn here. We've got our second scout. You'll see here that if we build this fishing quay, that we have +1 from the building itself, but it has this 1 next to this building here. That is this second one, so this +1 on fishing boats. So this is a warehouse building. What a warehouse building is, it's an ageless building, so it's going to be there forever. There's certain buildings that you probably only want in certain ages, and you'll replace them as you play the game. These warehouse ones, these are both warehouse ones. These ones are here forever. So we're going to get +1 from the fishing one. But this is letting us know, hey, for every fishing boat you have, you're going to get +1 food as well. And since we already have 1 fishing boat, this is letting us know we're going to get 2 if we place this down. That this one here is kind of the same things, but with farms, pastures, and plantations. We don't have any of those, so that's not going to apply here. We have our scout. We could build a scout again. We could build a warrior, which we might do. Let's build that warrior. And this scout, let's send this scout up here. Okay, so a temple complex has fallen into disrepair. Despite its residents' best efforts, the foundations are too unstable, but the acolytes can't leave their shrine behind. This first one, we get +1 population to Rome if we can move the shrine safely. But that's going to cost us 20 gold, and we don't have 20 gold, so we can't pick that as an option. The second one is to just leave them alone. For some reason that gives us culture. I'm not sure why we get culture by kind of abandoning them, but this is the only option we have, so we're going to get culture. We don't have the culture unlocked, but just like just like the tech tree, there is a starting one that's hidden that we're working towards. So this should help us get to that tree faster. And there we are. We're going to be able to do that. So see, chiefdom, this is the one we were secretly working on. You get these ones that look like a pen quill are the policies that we've unlocked. So we get +2 culture on the palace, or +1 production and science on the palace. And once we complete this, we can unlock our civilization's unique civ tree. So that's this thing over here. We'll look at that in a moment. But this is very similar to the tech tree. It's just the civ tree, the civic tree. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us policies. There are some buildings, but most of the time, all of our great wonders are over here in the civic tree. So that's one thing. And then it also gives us things like this where we can start a pantheon, this which gives us a free army commander, this which gives us a merchant. A lot of the if you think about it, like the tech tree enhances and unlocks buildings, where the civ tree is going to give you policies, unlocks wonders, and it gives you game mechanics, right? So you're gonna get a free commander here and unlock the commander. You're gonna unlock the pantheon. You're gonna get and unlock the merchants. You know, so that's the kind of thing that you do over here. But not only do you have this general one, but you have this one that's specific to your civilization. And these here are the ones that we were talking about, where for every one of these that you have equipped, your legion gets stronger. That it's not talking about the ones that are over here. So if we add this priesthood, that doesn't make it stronger, but this one here will. So I generally like to prioritize these ones here. One of the things that's also different about these is that these carry over between ages, that we will lose all of these policies at the end of antiquity, and we'll have to start unlocking the exploration ones, but the Roman ones do not get lost. We also see that our Roman special building is unlocked through here. We also see we get a bonus to our commander through this one. This one gives us a bonus in our capital for every town we have. Here's a settlement limit increase. We also get a free legion in every settlement we found. That's kind of big. This policy down here, +1 food, +1 gold, +1 culture in every town. That one's also very, very helpful. And then this one here, we get an additional slot for policies. That's really good. An additional settlement limit. +1 production on districts in our capital, makes our capital be able to build things quicker. And here is where we unlock the Colosseum. Now the Colosseum is also here under entertainment, so everyone else can get it, but in theory you can get it quicker and you can build it faster. So you should be able to get your wonder quicker than everyone else if you prioritize that. So what do we want to go with the civics? We could go for mysticism and do religion. We could do this, which is going to help with our military, or we can go with one of our Roman ones, which is probably where we want to go. We can choose one of these two, and this is going to give us influence, or this is going to give us happiness. I'm going to go with the happiness one. We'll start with that. So we're working on that. So you see the tech is slowly going up based off of the science we produce, and this is going up based off of the culture we produce.
So far, Rome is off to a strong start. We founded our capital, begun exploring the surrounding lands. We've even discovered natural wonder. We started developing our early economy and made our first important decisions in both technology and civic trees. Now that the foundations are in place, the next phase is where things really will start to begin. We'll expand outward, we'll scout new territory, we'll have to make decisions on what kind of empire Rome is going to be, and we might even meet some people along the way here very soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.